Allo.
Did you just say hello?
No, I said allo. This is episode 45 of the Abundance Podcast. Today we'll be talking about.
We're talking about Labyrinth.
Thank you. Thank you on both cues, Caroline. We did not practice it.
I know, but thank you. That was a great one. I like that. That's cute.
But
This is a
now, wait,
gym.
before we go on, though,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I want to do this. We cannot complete this episode until you can recite for me the lines that defeated the Goblin King.
Oh no, I can't do it word for word, but I could look it up real quick.
No, without looking it up.
Oh,
If I tell you the
know.
first line, do you think it will jog a memory?
I think so. Try it. Let's try it out.
And if you don't get this, I'm going to banish you to the Goblin City.
No, as long as it's not the bog of eternal stench.
No, I'm going to send you to the, what's it called? The oubliette?
Oh, the oubliette?
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 It's not oubliette.
She's in the oubliette? Oubliette.
Yeah, it's an oubliette. Yeah. Oubliette is way too fancy.
Oubliette.
All right, here's the first line.
Okay.
Through dangers untold and hardships unnumbered,
I have made my way to the Goblin Castle. For my will is strong and my courage is great. I know it ends with "you have no power over me."
That's the last line.
Did I get it?
No, you messed up in some parts, but I was
Oh.
very surprised with how well you did.
I've seen this movie many times.
I'm going to cancel my banishment, and I was very excited to banish you too.
Aw.
But after that is, I have fought my way here to the castle beyond the Goblin City, for my will is as strong as yours and my kingdom as great. And then you also forgot the line like she did, like Sarah did. She's like, oh, what was it?
What was the next line?
You have no power over me.
You have no power over me.
And that's the end of the movie.
That was the end of the movie. David Bowie had to throw that crystal ball up all upsetty.
They had to film him in 10 frames per second as he destroyed his crystal ball and
They had to take
derobing.
That was him actually being upset. Like, man.
Yeah.
She doesn't
like
want to
Swiper.
party.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Drats. Jareth, no swiping.
All right, Caroline, so let's begin.
We're talking Labyrinth, Tony.
Did you like this movie or what?
I feel like this is the song and dance for every episode for the past couple of weeks. I really do like this movie. It's a Jim Henson film. We'll start off with that. And just to give a little bit of history, first I'll give some history to the film, and then I'll give some history as to how I discovered this movie and why I like this movie. Jim Henson, as you know, super puppet master genius guy. He started off with the Muppets, and it started off being like this kind of small time TV show. As that grew, he did Sesame Street. Then he got the Muppet Show. Then he did like things like Fraggle Rock and Muppet Babies and things like that. But Jim Henson was the kind of guy that, you know how like when some people, I'm thinking like Kevin Feige. You have this guy, he's the mastermind of Marvel. He's been at this for over 10 years, But Jim Henson was not that kind of guy. He didn't like to stick to a project for more than maybe 2 or 3 years. Then he felt like he was getting stagnant. He felt like there were better ways to use his talent and his creativity, and he always wanted to do something new. Like with Sesame Street, it got so popular that they told him, oh, you could do this forever and make money off of it. But he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to make content for babies anymore. That's when he did the Muppets. And the Muppets was kind of like this Tonight Show, talk show skit, SNL kind of theme show. And he loved doing that. But he only did that for like 3 years. And, it's just the same with all his projects. And so eventually, when he started becoming more friends like with George Lucas and a lot of other people in the film industry, he started being like, I want to make movies, and not just for specific age groups. I want to make movies for all ages. So his first real movie, well, he did like the Muppets movie, and like he's done movies related to his past IPs, but the first movie he did that was his own kind of just dip into the fantasy world was The Dark Crystal. And have you seen like you know like the Netflix show, right? You're
Yeah,
aware
but
of
I
it.
haven't seen anything on it.
Yeah, but you're aware of like the imagery, like at least the poster, right? It's just not
It's
something that
very vaguely. I actually don't. I can't even tell you what's on it. I could tell you the font of the title, and that's it.
but just think like that's not something that you would corroborate with the guy who created like Sesame Street, right?
Maybe, I'm not sure. If I saw the poster, I can judge him.
All right, incoming. Hang
Okay.
on. So this is the guy that made Sesame Street, the Muppets. You know, it's really like dark.
So this is part of the Sesame Street cinematic universe.
Sort of, yeah.
All right.
It's a Jim Henson production. However, the film when it came out for it got stuck in like development hell. So Jim Henson was already getting like a bad taste for film when this movie was in production. He actually had to buy because he made his movie under I can't remember at the time, but like a production company's name. And then that production company was like, "Oh, we own this now," and he's like, "No, no, no, this is my work." So he had to buy back this movie for like $6 million, and then he distributed it through another company, and it went through a lot. And even after going through a lot, it wasn't received well. It didn't make its money back. So it was just a failure on both ends. Critics didn't like it. People, just regular fans of Jim Henson, didn't like it. And he took in feedback on like why did this movie not do well? And whereas everybody was kind of telling him, "Oh, it's a poor story. It doesn't really have a strong story or a strong stake for us to get invested in it." He believed it
Hey,
kind
my
of boiled.
people, my kind of criticism.
Yeah, it sounded very you. But he believed that it kind of boiled down to a lack of two things: a lack of humor and a lack of humans. So when he kind of went to the drawing board for this movie, that was the first thing he wanted to do is make it a little more lighthearted and get actual people in the movie, even though there's only like two. And so he started off going to Brian Froud, who was the concept artist for The Dark Crystal. And he told him, like, I want to make a movie about goblins. So Brian Froud is like, I was thinking about like goblins stealing kids away and kind of wanted to go off of there. Then Jim Henson had so many connections from like his past works. He went to one of the guys who wrote Fraggle Rock, and his name was Terry Jones. And he told him, like, hey, here's our concept art. Here are some key scenes that I want in the movie. I want you to write a script. Like, I want you to write the movie. I want you to give me a draft. So Jones went and he did his thing, sent him back a tentative draft and called it Labyrinth as just kind of like, oh, here's a, like, this is just a tentative name. It was kind of like the High School Musical thing, where it was like,
This
we'll just
happens
call it.
every time. We should
It
know this
happens
by now.
every time. Well, Jim Henson ended up really liking the name Labyrinth. And actually, in that first kind of rough draft, we were never supposed to see the center of the labyrinth. We were never supposed to see like the Goblin Castle. That was supposed to be like the mystery. It was supposed to be really like wonky, so we never see the actual center of the labyrinth. But when he started casting for the Goblin King, Jim Henson was like, I need a big name. He was actually aiming for Sting, and
What?
he approached Sting with it, but Sting wasn't all that invested. And at this point, Jim Henson's kids were grown up and working with him. So his daughter Lisa was like, "Hey, David Bowie." She's a huge fan of David Bowie. David Bowie is huge at that point in time, and she told her dad, "Why don't you approach David Bowie with this?" So he's like, "I don't, I don't know if he's really gonna be open to this." You know, he just seemed, and David Bowie's kind of image around the 80s was very weird. He was the one always like dressed in
Was?
makeup. Well, he passed away.
What are you saying at this time?
At this time. It was weird.
Was it always this way?
I mean, he kind of chilled out later in life a little bit, but he was still pretty weird. Not as weird as the 80s though.
Okay.
And so he had this kind of weird persona going on. So Jim Henson was like, I don't know, that could be in favor or that could be not in favor. So he sent him this is kind of what boggles my mind as to how it got Bowie on board. Was he sent him the concept art of like the goblins and the Goblin King and the labyrinth itself, and he sent him a copy of the Dark Crystal, which didn't do well. So he was still like, hey, this is the kind of movie I make. Here's a copy of the Dark Crystal. Do you want to be involved in this? And Bowie looked at all of it and went, "Oh, I really want to be part of this." So I was like, "Okay, Bowie, you're seeing it. You're seeing the vision." And Bowie had a lot of artistic liberty with his character. He was the one that convinced Henson to actually see the goblin like castle and make it to the center and things like that. And Henson is really good at taking feedback and collaboration from the people he's working with. So that's when like he brought on George Lucas, and he asked George Lucas to kind of refine and say like, hey, you know what, we have these changes we want to make, but I also wanted to make it more appealing and flow better. So he was asking George Lucas to make that happen. And yeah, even like Jennifer Connelly, he was really worried about casting her role because he was like, this is going to be the main character, she's the character we're with the whole movie, we have to like her. And Jennifer Connelly had just started acting because she said originally she wanted to be like a vet or a carpenter, which I was like, interesting. All right. But she ended up being a model. And then that went to her being cast in the role Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which there's no such thing as a coincidence because that film is directed by the same guy who directed A Fistful of Dollars. So it's like, interesting.
We're covering it all here.
We're covering it all here. Either way, she liked being an actress. She auditioned for Labyrinth, and Jim Henson was like, she's perfect. Bring her in. And then once she got casted, it was like filming was underway. So a lot went down. I think we'll get into more of it later on as like the trivia comes up and things like that. But going back to me, I didn't even, because this movie, even when it came out, wasn't a huge commercial success. It made its money back, but it didn't hit the high that Henson wanted it to hit. And it didn't really get famous until years later as a cult following. And I didn't even know about this movie until one day I was scrolling on Instagram, and I think it was I'm trying to remember. It was like a makeup tutorial, a makeup artist or something like that. Just somebody like an influencer that I followed posted a clip of this movie, specifically the last part where they're in that like stairs room. And I saw that and I was like, is that David Bowie? What? He was in a what is he? And then she put like in her description, like, it's Labyrinth's like so many year anniversary. This is my favorite movie. And I was like, I really want to see this. And at the time it was on Netflix. So that night I like looked it up, I watched it, and this has been one of my beloved movies for a while. Maybe not top 15, but I do like it. And especially when we were kind of on this high of 80s films, I was like, this movie is up there for 80s fantasy.
It is Never Ending Story on your top 15.
No, I think that Labyrinth is higher than Neverending Story.
Okay. My background is you told me, hey, you want to watch Labyrinth? I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And here we are.
As are most of the films that we watch for this pod.
I even barely know David Bowie. I just
Yeah,
know his name.
you're not a huge Bowie, not like you're not a huge Bowie fan, but you're not aware of Bowie and like
No,
all of
not
the
really. No.
and like the music he's done and stuff.
Yeah.
I was aware of Bowie for some songs, but this movie was definitely my gateway because like after I saw this movie, I started talking to Josh about Bowie. Josh was a Bowie fan. So that was where I started getting into the music and hearing his stuff. And, he's got great music, by the way. You should look it up whenever you can. But this movie was definitely my Bowie gateway.
His music in this movie, I feel like it has to be in tune with what you like already, or I guess like an acquired taste or something. Because I can definitely call it very good music, but I don't know if I'm gonna hear it like later on. Like just seek out anything from this movie. But while I
Mhm.
was watching it, and especially the Labyrinth illusion final boss fight scene, that was like that song was my favorite in the movie.
Yeah.
But like I don't know the words really. I don't even think I understood most of the words, but it was just a mood. I was feeling it.
Yeah. I almost asked if you wanted to rank the songs, but then I thought, no, it's not really a musical. I mean, it's got music in it, but this music is very different than what you hear in a musical. So I figured we could just vibe.
I thought you might have wanted to do it, but isn't there just 4 songs?
Yeah, there's just 4.
I feel like we would have figured it out.
It would have been just enough to know what, like, your favorite is, and so now that I
Well,
know
now
that
I
it's
gave away my number 1.
yeah, there it is, woo.
Yeah.
Mine is definitely the I don't know, because
Dance Magic Days.
I do like Dance Magic Dance, but I also like the ballroom song. That's a really nice one.
That one I don't remember very much, but I guess quickly I'll put that Labyrinth song number 1, Dance Magic Dance 2, Ballroom 3, and then um
End
Duchy
credits.
Duchy number
Oh,
4.
the duchy is last. The duchy is last. I don't even know the real name of it, but it sounds like "Pass the duchy on the left-hand slide." It's like, "Nope, nope, I don't wanna hear it."
I don't know like 90% of the words that were said in that song.
Neither do I. I think, like, later on, I was today years old when I heard the just the melody of what they were saying, and they were talking about the fire gang, you know, how we thought that we were that they were singing the F word,
Oh, I
but
heard the F word for sure.
they were saying fire gang.
Oh. Well, okay. So I guess
Yeah.
it could remain PG.
This is a PG film.
All right. Well, I do want to say I enjoyed this movie right off the bat.
Finally. I had a I had a low last week. I have to have a little up.
I feel like you would have known that I was going to enjoy it because this is very similar to the themes that I like about not explaining everything that's going on. Like there's so much mystery in this movie and there's so much left to interpretation. Like I love how I don't know how much of this is answered by the way. And I also didn't want to do very much research to keep my thoughts my own
Mhm.
because I know she's reading a book called The Labyrinth. I don't know if that's a real book or if
No,
it's
it's
just for
not.
the movie.
It's just for the movie.
Okay. So, yeah, she's reading that. She's like LARPing at the park or something by herself.
She is LARPing.
It's so weird, but it's funny. I wish she had some friends to act out with her, but yeah, and then she's the book is about I guess what she's quoting, right? Like it is about a goblin city, a goblin king, and she's telling what's his name, the little baby, Toby.
Toby.
Yeah, she's telling him this nightmare for him, pretty much that the king could come take him away if she just
Wishes
wishes
him
for it.
away.
Yeah. And then as soon as the Goblin King shows up, it just immediately becomes like, well, hold on, where did you come from? You know, if I wrote this, I would have been way too logical and boring. You know, I would have made Sarah say, like, wait, how are you here? How is this happening? Huh? Wait, how did you teleport me to Goblin City? What's going on here? No, none of that. None of that's ever questioned. You're just going with the flow this entire movie. And I love that. I love that in a movie.
I agree, and it's pretty cool because we know Sarah believes it. She believes in
Yeah.
these fairy tales, and she's obviously loving this book because she's quoting it and memorizing lines and dressing up and things like that, so I love that because she believes it, the movie believes it, and we believe it.
Does this movie have hidden messages that you could look into and it's like, oh, they were meaning this. This is a double meaning. This was leading to this. Because I feel like it's open to that, but I didn't want to overthink it. But does this movie have that?
I looked into a lot there's a documentary called Inside the Labyrinth, and that's more on the production side of it. They didn't really talk about the movie themes of the story because that is what they wanted people to walk out with different, like, Jim Henson wanted people to walk out with different interpretations so that way they could sit down and talk about it afterwards and be like, "Oh, this is what I got out of like this character or this scene," and things like that. So, it's kind of what we're doing right
All
now.
right, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. That's how it should be. All right,
exactly.
so what did you get from it then?
Clap to Henson.
Good
Just
job.
one of my heroes, by the way. It's like Hayao Miyazaki and Jim Henson are up there. It's
Oh.
my favorites.
Does Jim Henson also think anime was a mistake?
He was not a huge fan of animation in general. He's a
My
very
hero.
practical guy. He did outsource animation on a couple of his shows, but that was just for like a more Like, okay, the kids are liking it now. Let's and he did team up like with Toei Animation at some point, but he loved things being there. As you like you can see with his puppets and how much effort he put into set design and things like that, so that puppets can be used. And I just find him very inspiring on a lot of levels for his work ethic and his filmmaking in general.
Yeah, and I guess we've mentioned this so much, but just to quickly say, big fan of the puppets, big fan of the practical stuff, obviously.
Love
And
puppets.
I wish we could still do it. I feel like that's real. All of that's real. Like the actors are actually looking
Yeah.
at that. Those monsters, goblins. I feel like, are we ashamed of that now? Or is CGI just, oh, well, I know the CGI is cheaper now.
Yeah, that's the sad part too, is that CGI is cheaper, but Jim Henson really didn't want to spare expenses in doing that. And that just makes things so much different when you're watching the movie, and especially for the actors. David Bowie in the documentary talked about how, it's one thing when he gets his lines, and he also like, I don't know if I stated this on the pod, but he wrote the music for this movie. All the songs are written by him, and that was another artistic liberty he was given. So he said it was one thing to kind of do that side of things where it's like, all right, I'm gonna write this music, see, like memorize the script. But he said when he finally walked on set and it was that magic dance set, and he said at first the set, like Brian Henson, who was one of the puppeteers and Jim Henson's son, said without the puppets, the set looked like Swiss cheese. And David Bowie said that he was actually kind of worried walking out on set, like what is this? But then he said as he saw the puppets being slid through and the whole set came to life, and so he said a lot
Oh,
of the
literal
times
Swiss cheese, not
a
a
little,
metaphor. Like there's holes for the puppets to poke out of.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because there's holes and everybody's putting their hands through, their puppets
Okay.
through, and he said that when at first there was 20 puppets on that set, but Jim Henson saw it and went, it's too empty, we need to add more. So they added 20 more puppets and 20
And
more
then George
puppeteers.
said, we could use more CGI.
And Jim Henson shoved him out of the room.
All right, that's enough, sir.
That's Lucas, go back to writing the script.
You provided everything we need. You're okay now.
You're just here to run the camera, George.
You're here so we can put your name at the beginning of this.
You're here so we can put your name in executive producer.
Yeah.
But David Bowie said that a lot of the times you see him laughing in Dance Magic Dance, he's actually laughing because he got to see the puppeteers improv with him. There were no stage directions. Henson just kind of told all the puppeteers act like goblins. So a lot of times when you hear like the laughs where it's like from the goblins, that's them actually doing it, and it would catch David Bowie by surprise and he would start cracking up. And that just creates that
That's
whole
beautiful.
environment there of actually interacting with things that are there and being able to feed off of that instead of just, all right, here's the green screen.
Yeah, one giant green screen.
Yeah,
All right, there's something chasing you.
run.
Be afraid. Pretend you're scared. Oh, man. I love that story. That's really cool. That they kept it in, too. Like, cut, Bowie. Come on. Let's get serious, man. You're the Goblin King. You can't be
You're the
laughing. Come on.
I think that's what worked even better because he is the Goblin King. He can be as crazy as he wants to be.
Right. Those are some of the mysteries of this movie that I think about those things, and I think about, you see, if I wrote this, I would have messed up this movie greatly. But the
Oh,
way that it happened, because
yeah.
I think, like, why does a Goblin King not look like a goblin?
Oh, that's
Is that answered?
it's not official. This is just David Bowie had a lot of liberty. So he
He
talked
said, I
about
don't
it.
want to wear that makeup.
It was intended for him to be the first draft of the story that Jones worked on was that he was supposed to be David Bowie, but then at the end of the movie, when Sarah said, "You have no power over me," he was supposed to transform into this like ugly goblin king character. But David Bowie, when he came along and he got casted, and they saw how pretty he looked in his Goblin
In his
King
cat
outfit
makeup
that he continued to wear in the
and his
documentary,
bedhead.
by the way, people, oh, that's the photo on his bedhead. Look at this dude in this documentary. Like, that's his
That's how he
dedication.
shows up.
This is how he showed up to do the documentary.
Did
It's
he
just.
tell him right here, this isn't even my final form? Because the hair is not on yet.
I haven't even done my hair yet.
You just wait.
It's not pictured here, but there were moments when he was talking, you could also tell he had lip gloss on. Like he was dedicated. He had full glam.
Oh man.
But he talked about how his character, the way he envisioned it, is that he's not actually a goblin. He's supposed to be like a fairy or something. And he was given like control of the goblins. Like he was just sort of put there to be stuck there. And he doesn't want to be with the goblins, but he has to be. But that he himself is not actually a goblin.
I must say the two original ideas you told me so far, I like a little better. Well, not better, but I think they're probably just as interesting.
Yeah, I feel
First
like
to
there's
not show the
no.
castle, that's the first thing you told me.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool to know or to not know where you headed. And then just a mysterious castle out of nowhere.
To be, but I feel, I wonder how that would have gone, like how she would have saved her brother then. Because the whole point is to get to the center of the labyrinth.
That's what you say. You got to make it to the center of the labyrinth.
Oh, so make the castle in the labyrinth something
Yeah,
different.
never show it, and then it's like, oh well, what's at the center? And then you find the castle.
Ba-bum.
But it would have worked either way.
I think that no version of this plot is wrong, provided it could have been given to us the same way this was given to us. But I'm satisfied with the story we got. I'm also a fan of David Bowie staying pretty.
I know you are.
Oh,
Can I tell you some of my theories as I was watching this?
yes,
And then
please.
you tell me what you thought or how wrong I was.
No, let's have the Henson conversation. What did you interpret
All
from
right,
this
Henson,
film?
this is for you. So, at some point it crossed my mind to think, is Goblin City hell?
When I was watching the movie, I thought this is giving me Spirit Away vibes. And the second I had that thought, I thought Tony's gonna think this is hell.
I didn't bring it up during the movie because I didn't want to ruin it for you.
I know. Thank you. You just
All
had to
right.
bring it up here, though. But go ahead.
I want to ruin it for you now. No, but I actually stopped thinking that because Spirited Away, I think I'm so accurate on that, honestly. But here, I didn't get the sense of like there was a lingering dread. I feel like there were places that were lively and like these some of these goblins just went about their day and didn't really they didn't really look sad or anything. They were just doing their thing.
Yeah, it also helps that they're not like spirits. They're goblins. They have
Yeah,
houses, and in Spirit Away, you're definitely more on the nose because yeah, there was that like we talked about in that episode, by the way, everybody, if you haven't heard it, go back to our Spirit Away episode, where they don't know that they're like they forgot something. Like the way Lynn said she couldn't remember why she left home in the first place, but now she's working there and she's always wanted to leave, but she can't remember why she wants to leave. Like that feels more stuck in hell kind of thing.
right.
Whereas here it was like, no, it's like this is where the goblins live.
Yeah, nobody really wants to escape. They're just doing their own thing. They have their own jobs, going about their days.
Yeah.
But there were still some things that made me think, did they take some stories or some inspiration from the Bible?
Oh.
Because well, we made the joke, but when Sarah's in front of the two doors, one that's deaf and the other one that's mute or can't talk because he's muffled,
Uh-huh.
and then he doesn't quote the Bible exactly, but he says like, if you knock, it
Knock and
shall
the
be
door will
open.
open.
Yeah, or the door will open. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh,
And there is
is
an
it?
element of seek and you will find.
And then there was a part of the movie with the forbidden fruit that
You're right,
Hoggle
you're
gave to
right.
Sarah.
Uh-huh. And Jareth does throw a snake at Sarah.
I was gonna mention that. Yeah, when he first showed up, he made a snake, and that's another
Yeeted it
big
at her.
sign.
Mhm.
And then that made me think, like, is this supposed to be a deal with the devil that she made? She wished
Oh.
for her brother to be taken away.
That's pretty interesting. And he does kind of like deflect blame a little bit. Like he kind of puts it on her, where he's like, you asked for the child to be taken away. I merely complied with what you asked me to do.
Yeah,
Where it's not
that
like
was a
Jared.
very interesting conversation near the end. Like every line he said
Yeah.
was very, very strategically said because he was saying like, Oh, something about like is exhausting everything you like I had to live up to, something like that.
Yeah, I'm exhausted because of your expectations of me.
And then I should have wrote down the exact lines because they're really good. But the
I
very
think I can
last
look it
thing
up.
he said before Sarah like defeated him, he was saying like, "Serve me, like serve me
It,
as your king,
it was like fear me, serve me, and love me.
and then I will be your slave."
Yeah, where
Like
it's like
what does that
that
mean?
clearly not. It's all double language. Like
Yeah,
it really is like deal with the devil type language.
it's so interesting. And since we're back here again already near the end, I just love how again I would have thought like, wait, how do you decide that quoting a book is going to defeat this guy and break you out of Goblin City? But I think that's just so creative because why not? Who's making the rules here?
Yeah, I mean Jareth is technically, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's just like you see again, if I were to write it, I would have made like laser beams and like there would have been fire everywhere and it would have been an actual fist fight and that would have been terrible. But this, I don't know, it just reminded me of like it didn't really end like this, but like Guardians of the Galaxy is like dance off, bro, to save the galaxy. It's like why is this saving us? I don't know,
I
but
don't. It is.
it is. And it also reminded me of Encanto. Remember when they saw the last Bruno's last uh
Vision.
vision and it
Hmm.
was or Mirabelle thought it was to hug her sister. And then she even brought it up like why do why does it break the I forgot what it's called, the family curse or whatever to hug my sister.
Why does it like save Casita?
Yeah, and then Bruno's just like, you know, it is what it is. It's just a strange fantasy thing, and that's what you got to do. And I thought of this as like, well, why not? The reason to do it is just as weird as the reason not to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Something I noticed, like while watching the movie too, is how a lot of the labyrinth are things that she herself is overcoming. A lot of it is tests. I feel like the first one is patience and how she's very bratty in the beginning. Sarah is very bratty and kind of annoying
Oh yeah, big time.
and yeah, she's very much a bratty teenage girl in the beginning of the movie. And when she first starts off with the labyrinth, Jareth gives her 13 hours, which is a lot when you think about it. Like she was in the labyrinth for 13 hours. And she's immediately like, running through and she's getting angry and she's screaming and things like that. And that's where it's like, okay, first test is you have to, not everything is as it seems. It's about your perspective. So that's what taught her, instead of like running through, you have to be patient. You have to look at things. You have to be careful and analyze. And that's where like the worm helped her out and got her through. And then even the, what's it called? I even feel like the fiery gang, as much as I don't like them, that was, I feel like that's the part of the movie where I felt like it dipped down a bit in interest for me. Like every time I rewatch it, I always fast forward it. But the fire gang, their whole thing is they love playing around and messing around and partying. And that's almost kind of like what Sarah was at the beginning. She would just play around with her books and stuff and with her toys. And so these people are, these little fire goblin things are trying to keep her there to just dance and party. And so that's kind of overcoming that, where it's like you have to overcome this like want to be irresponsible and neglect your responsibilities, and you have to, overcome that. So I do like with each stage of the labyrinth, she's slowly growing more and more responsible.
I think that scene that you hate or fast forward, I think it would have been so much better if it was just the actual puppets in a forest set. I don't know
I
why it just
I
suddenly
know,
became
right?
a green screen background and it looked all weird and
I mean, they talk about that in the documentary, and they said it was because that was like a technical limitation. It was because they wrote for these goblins to be able to take their head off and roll and stand on it. and it was really hard to do that practically. So that's when they decided to try out the green screen.
Man, that's the only thing that stuck out so much for me. I think I would have been fine with everything as it is if it was actually there.
I agree. I actually would have been fine with this whole movie if they could just cut out the fire gang scene. I don't know why it was there. You could just cut that out. It'd be a great movie.
I guess, but it opens it up to the interpretation again. I feel like a lot of these scenes, are they necessary or not is hard to say. I feel like you could cut out or leave scenes because a lot of it is just mysterious, at least to me. Because when we were watching it, you were saying like this adds nothing to the movie, but a lot of scenes I don't really know what it's adding to the movie unless I really think about it and see what's the meaning behind it.
Hmm. If you're listening to this and you got some meaning from the fire gang scene, let us know at elbownudgepod@gmail.com.
You're gonna have them write me?
I mean, I have the email too.
Okay.
But I feel like Henson is so smart and so like he loves his movies. He loves any work that he puts his heart into. So why did he feel like this scene was important? That's what I want to know.
I think he just wanted to demonstrate puppets losing their heads.
He just wanted to record this.
Yeah. This is probably a George Lucas recommendation.
You know what? I would believe it a lot more if it was. This has Big Lucas written all over it.
Yeah. I also wanted to tell you before I forget, this one I
Mhm.
didn't stick to for very long, but another idea I had, and it wasn't until late in the movie when we saw the hoarder witch
Oh yeah.
goblin near the end.
Mhm.
That's when it clicked. Like, oh, are they trying to do the seven deadly sins? Is this like,
Oh.
yeah, is this greed? Is this supposed to represent greed? And then I'm trying to think back, like, did anything show pride or lust or gluttony? And like, nah, I don't think I didn't nail down any scenes that could do that, but
I think we could try to fit it in.
let's just make our theory work.
Let's just shove it like the way you would trying to shove a circle through a square.
Yeah. All right. So pride is David Bowie, right? Because he loved his outfits.
I feel like that ballroom scene must have been like lust because he's trying to seduce her,
That was
right?
definitely the seduction part. Yeah. Another deal with the devil
Lock him
kind of
up.
like, yeah. That's
Ladies and
another thing
gentlemen,
too. I'm not.
we
I'm
got
just
him.
gonna assume they. Starting from the beginning when Sarah was reading the book, because I saw the beginning again, and she was saying like, and the Goblin King loved her and loved this girl. I'm like, hold on a second. What are they going for here?
The
Hold on a second.
Wikipedia, by the way, for Labyrinth's plot is a lot more detailed now, but when I first read it back in like, I don't know, 2012, um, it had described that scene as the Goblin King Jareth tries to seduce her, and I was like, "What?"
In the ballroom.
Yeah, like in that ballroom scene, like it described that action of him trying to seduce her.
That is what the scene is, but I guess they corrected it because they don't want it to be what the scene
They
is,
they just
right?
kind of they just kind of fixed the wording a little bit.
What did they
It's
say?
it says right here, Jareth comes to her in a masquerade ball and proclaims his love for her, which I don't know if that's
Uh,
better than seduction, but
yeah. What's up with
yeah,
that? What's up with this scene here, huh?
I d you know what? And there's a lot of people that ship them, even
Oh
though she's like
no.
Jennifer Connelly is like 14.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No.
I
No, thank you. No,
don't
no.
get into that. That's a no. But it is interesting because I think that that might be a theme of something that she wants because she's got his figure in her bedroom too, like this kind of king figure. I think I pointed out to you in the beginning. Like these are all things that she has in her room that we're seeing come to life throughout the movie in the labyrinth. And I feel like that could be kind of part of this fantasy that girls that age have about like a Prince Charming or a guy coming and sweeping them off their feet. And she's even saying in the movie at the beginning multiple times, like, will somebody come take me away from this place? Like, kind of thing. And so I feel like Jareth, on a level, is his own character, but I also feel like when you look at things from her perspective, he's also there to kind of be that temptation for her.
Yeah, that's where it starts getting weird. He's I'm assuming, he's supposed to be this fairy, whatever they decided behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And that they're supposed to be ageless. So I guess this is just more whimsical and fantasy like. But, in our world,
That's a no-no.
that's a grown adult and that's a little
Yeah,
girl. So it looks
exactly.
a little weird, but I get it. I get what's supposed to go on there. And that's what the ballroom scene did portray. It looks like it did look kind of scary too, because everybody had
It
like
was
these
really
scary
s Yeah, it was
masks
really
on.
scary.
Yeah. So it was like a haunted dream of hers, like a little corrupt dream.
This is another kind of I like the comparison of, like, Deal with the Devil, because if you just look at him, he's very good looking to the female gaze, and, he's this kind of, like, princely king fairy figure, but when she stops and starts looking around the room and the camera starts showing us all these really scary masks and people laughing like witches and things like that, like, "Meh," like, things like that, she starts being like, "I don't wanna stay here. I don't wanna stay in this sort of realm here. It's getting pretty scary," and she breaks off from him.
She literally breaks reality with a chair.
She does, yeah. Good for her.
Yeah, that was another good scene. She was also rocking the Bride of Frankenstein look.
I think she looks so pretty. I wanted, like when I was younger, I searched high and low for that little casing of, like, her and her dress,
Uh-huh.
like, that the lady hands her, the little toy.
Did you find it?
No, and if I did, it
What?
was, like, hundreds of dollars.
Oh, you just reminded me. I really wanted to call out how I think her main outfit throughout the movie is just awesome. I feel like
I
that's a perfect cosplay
Thank you.
outfit for
I
people.
love it. I love that, like, puffy sleeve shirt with the vest and the jeans. It's
This is like
just
her half LARPing costume. She's
she was
like, this is her
rocking
casual.
this is nerd chic right there. Like, that's what that was. I love her outfit. Oh my
No, this
gosh.
was her. She just got done LARPing, and then she's like almost changing clothes, and I don't know if she's like getting ready to go to sleep or whatever, but she's like half out of it, pretty much. That's what that was.
I wanna believe it's nerd chic. Because she was getting
What?
ready to babysit. She was
Yeah,
wearing jeans. So, yeah, this is, like, her at-home outfit.
but not. But I could have sworn
She was wearing a
she.
dress, though, while she was LARPing.
Yeah, but her vest wasn't that vest over her dress and like buttoned up.
No.
Are
Hang
you
on.
sure?
Hang on. Sarah Green dress labyrinth. No.
No.
No. Sending a picture. There's no vest on that dress.
Oh no, that looks nothing like what she wears.
She's just rocking out in a vest.
That's just her look.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's committed to this fantasy outfit and she's rocking it.
All right. So I forgot what the dress looked like, but I thought it was her. Yeah. I thought that was like part of her dress, like underneath her dress or whatever it was.
The jeans were under her dress, but think about it. She went home, she took off the dress, and she put on this pirate shirt with a vest on top.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love their pirate hat. Her white and red striped pirate hat. And then she
Yeah.
makes my favorite face in the whole movie where she's looking at Toby. I wish I could tell you the timestamp, but it just looks like
Ah, you gotta
I
go
don't think
through it and
Jennifer
send me a
Connelly ever made
screenshot.
that face ever again.
She didn't make it at Maverick in Top Gun.
No, no.
Jennifer Connelly is an icon, and this movie definitely is her first mark as an icon. She looks amazing.
But yeah, that outfit is just it really stands out. It's really cool. And it adds to a lot of I don't know, there's just images that stood in my mind like when she falls in the pit of hands. So like the
Yeah.
way that outfit contrasts against the dark and then like the dark hands and the way she's falling down. And that's another one of the things like what do the hands mean? Like what is that like and even starting with the riddle.
We're
I
helping
thought she got the
hands.
riddle right of which doorway leads to the castle and which doorway leads to her doom.
I mean, she didn't find certain death, so she was right.
Isn't that supposed to be certain death? She ended up in the
She did end up in the
oubliette.
oubliette,
Yeah,
but there was a way from the oubliette to the castle.
that's only because Hoggle was there.
That's true. That's very true.
But do you think she took the right door?
I guess if I think about it, no, because yeah, she ended up in the oubliette. But it wasn't the other. Oh, because it was supposed to be a certain death, and isn't the oubliette death because it's you're being forgotten kind of thing
Yeah, this is where everyone is thrown who
when
are
they're for
forgotten.
yeah to be forgotten.
Because you're right. Ultimately, she ended up at the castle. So is it the right way, or did she just find a way back?
But then Jareth is concerned when she gets in the oubliette. He's like, she should not have made it as far as the oubliette.
Well, isn't that just like another roadblock? Because
I
it's
don't know.
the oubliette, the right way, or is it like, hold on now, you've gotten too far, I'm dropping you here,
You're not in the right oubli way.
Caroline? Good job.
I think maybe it's a trap, or maybe I don't know, because even like at the beginning of the movie when she's talking to the worm and he says, "Oh no, don't go that way. Go the other way." And she starts running the other way, and he goes, "I was going to tell her if she goes that way, she'll go to the Goblin Castle, and who wants to go there?" I feel like either way in the labyrinth, she would have gotten to the castle, but one way was quicker than the other.
Huh. Maybe. I don't know.
These are things to think about.
Yeah. Because the way they set it up before she falls into the trap door of infinite hands, they set it up like she got it right, she got it right, she got it right. Oh, she got it wrong because she fell through the trap. Because she was saying like, "Wow, yeah, I can't believe I got it. I'm getting a lot smarter now." And and then she falls. Right? She's like saying all that, so it's like really building it up. Like, oh my gosh, I got the right door that quick.
Exactly, yeah. And then she's got that moment of pride where she's like, "Woo!" and then
By the way, I'm really surprised she got it first try because it's a very old riddle, and it took me a long time to figure
one
out how to
always
solve it.
lies and one always tells the truth.
Yeah. Did you know the answer before she did?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay. It's
I
so
was
clever
a
though. Did you understand? I knew the answer, and after she explained it, I was confused when she explained it. Did you understand it when she explained it?
I know for a fact I would be stuck in this labyrinth longer than 13 hours because there was a lot that I'm like, Sarah, I'm so proud of you, honey. You're doing amazing, sweetie, because I couldn't get this far.
You would have got stuck with the worm in the beginning.
I would have been there going, hello, along with the worm.
Did you say hello?
No, I said, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Let me try to explain it very simply because I love this riddle.
Okay.
So yeah, the two doors, one's a bad door, one's a good door, and then two people guarding it, and one always lies, one always tells the truth. So the way she asked the question, the answer is always going to be a lie because she says, if I were to ask him where this door leads to the castle, what would he say? So if the truth giver says what the liar says, he has to tell her the lie he's going to say. And then the liar is going to tell her the lie. So it's always going to be a lie. That's the trick.
Okay.
So whatever door she was pointing to is always going to be yeah, depending on the answer. Just know that your answer is the lie, pretty much.
Yeah, because that's what she says. Well, if I asked him, then he would. If he said that, then he would be lying, talking about the truth door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if she's talking to the truth giver first, he's telling the truth by saying his lie. So if he's going to lie, he says, "Oh yeah, he's going to tell you the lie." And then if she was to talk to the liar first, he's just going to lie and it'll be the
Mm-hmm.
same answer. So it's pretty clever.
She got around it.
Yeah.
That's so. She starts off as such a. I love her character arc because she starts off as such a brat and not even likable. In the beginning, you're just kind of like, oh, why am I watching this movie about this girl? But you start seeing under all of that kind of brattiness and spoiledness, she's really clever, really smart. And when she channels that into something good, she betters herself as a person and just becomes a way more likable character.
I I was wondering too, and this isn't to discredit her because I do believe she's smart, but I wonder if they're trying to go for the route where she has a vague understanding of what to do because she read the Labyrinth.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that. You're right.
Is a lot of that in the book already, and she already knows what to do in a sense?
I feel like no, because then why would she get stuck in the beginning?
I don't know. I guess is some sort of unfamiliarity or just a stress or pressure of being there for the first time, and I don't know. But she knew what to say. She knew how to defeat the Goblin King. You know, she knew that it was part of her story that
Mm-hmm.
she reads.
I do feel though like the labyrinth is maybe tailor made for people, and they like depending on the person, it would have changed around, and it would have given challenge. Like if you and I were to go into the labyrinth, we I want to believe that we would get different obstacles because it would be obstacles that pertain to us as a person. And
Ah,
so I feel like the book wouldn't be that much help in that regard. But that's never told to us. This is just, an interpretation thing.
yeah. Because she also knew to wish. Well, she didn't know Toby would actually be taken away, but she knew.
She knew the wish.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing too. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but she said like Goblin King, Goblin King.
Yeah, take this child away from me.
Yeah,
And
take this child away from me. And oh, that didn't work. All she had to say was
I like how we didn't finish the wish. We had to do it. Neither of us said the full wish.
I wrote it down actually. I just wasn't looking at it. Goblin King, wherever you may be, take this
No!
take this child far away from me.
I need you to call and check on one of your your
But that's
niece
the
or
one that
nephew.
doesn't work, remember?
Oh, okay, you're right. You're
That's
right.
the false one.
I don't want no
And then they're like,
goblin.
that doesn't work. She didn't even wish for it.
I don't want no goblin taking my Lukey.
Oh, don't worry. It will be said
No,
at some point.
no.
But oh, okay. But anyways, after that, she says, "I wish I could just know what to say." Something like that, right? She says, "I wish I knew what to say." And
Yeah.
then the goblins goes, "All she has to say is, I wish to take this kid away or whatever." And then
I wish the goblins would take you away.
and
Right?
did it work?
Yeah. Right? That's when the
Well,
go- that's
yeah.
when the goblins showed up horror style.
No, I'm saying, did that wish work? She said, "I wish I knew what to say." And then the goblin said it.
Huh.
And then right before she left the room, that's what she said. I wish the goblins would come and take you away.
I don't think that wish worked. I think she just said it to say it like that was a wish she meant. That wasn't something that she was. I feel like the Goblin King, she was just trying to scare him and then put it down. But
Nah, I think from the start she was trying to get rid of him
poor,
already.
poor Toby. He's
You don't
just a
think so? Because she
baby.
was
No,
like
she was angry.
Goblin King, raising him up.
Cut to David Bowie watching from the mirror, like, yes,
Just say "I
yes.
wish" in the beginning.
It's gonna be like Dragon Tales. It's gonna get cut off.
But she seemed disappointed when it didn't work. She's like, "I wish I knew what to say."
I think you're right. Whenever it didn't work, that's when she got dejected. She put him down and she left. And then I don't think it worked like that wish of I wish I knew what to say. I think she just left and it
She
was
just
more like
remembered.
she just said it. Like she said the words and they coincidentally happened to be right.
It was more heartfelt, and that's why it worked.
Yeah. It was more, I wish you were gone.
Yeah. All right. See, that's probably one of the things I was looking too much into.
One of the things I looked a little too much into on my side was why the goblins were sleeping. I want to believe that people haven't been through the labyrinth in thousands of years. And that's why, like, when we do see it, it's like the vines are all overgrown. There's trees, like, even in that first part of the wall where she's running, it looks all run down and stuff. And the goblins are asleep in the beginning, they're knocked out. And when she starts talking about the goblins, they wake up and they're like, oh, is somebody finally gonna say it? And
Were they asleep for years, or
yeah,
was it just nighttime and they were asleep already?
I think they were asleep for years and they were like bored. They're like, oh, nobody's wished their kids away. When is it
Hmm.
our time again? We miss those heydays
So
of
just the
kidnapping.
goblins? Because I feel like there was a life going on before she made the wish.
I feel like they did that just because they had no kids around.
Huh?
There was a concept art trivia, and I wish I knew the source. This was one of the things I forgot to look up before we started recording, but it was that there's kind of a interpretation or a suspended belief that all of the goblins are actually kids that were wished away by their parents.
Oh, I love that.
I
Ah, such a good idea.
need to find it, but I don't know if I'd have the time in
Oh,
this
you see
recording.
that's the good stuff that the internet comes up with.
But that is one of my interpretations, is that they're all children that were wished away, and that's why they kind of have their own town, because that's what they're used to. Like, that's human civilization right there. Why would goblins be doing that unless they know of human ways?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, I do see that idea. I just don't see that they've been asleep this whole time. I feel like they're living their life. I think that was just an artistic choice. Like as soon as she
Okay.
said "I wish," I think they're I was like, "Ooh," they're
Huh?
paying attention.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
But everything else, I could see definitely. Because also, I was gonna bring up, and this I was not thinking about very much at all. It just popped into my head, for Sir Didymus at
Hmm.
the Bog of Eternal Stench.
Hmm.
I had two questions about him. How old
Okay.
is he? Because he referenced a bridge and he said, "Oh, this has been up for 1,000 years. This sturdy bridge," and then he taps it twice and it collapses. So he could be a historian and just know it's been around 1,000 years, or he could have
Been
lived
there.
1,000 years.
Man,
Yeah,
he's probably a stinky boy.
that was my second question. Does he stink? Because he
Probably.
can't smell, and he's been there for a long time. Even if he's been there for like 10 or 20 years, that's already way too much. He's got to stink.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think even just being there more than 2 days, you're going to start stinking.
I think we could confirm that theory that he stinks.
He definitely stinks.
Yeah.
Ambrosius probably not. He's a sweet boy. He probably takes baths
No, he's too
regularly.
cute. He can
He's
stink.
too cute. He's all white too, so he's gotta be clean. He takes
Yeah, he's
baths.
so clean.
Ambrosius. Ambrosius is the cutest thing to come out of this movie. The way his teeth were chattering and he was like,
Actually,
Ambrosius, come over here. No.
okay.
What?
Huh?
What did you say?
Oh, I thought you answered me. I said not David Bowie when you said the cutest thing to come out of this movie, and you're like,
David
no,
Bowie is on it. He's on another level. Cute. Ambrosius is adorable. David Bowie is, whew, he's cute.
Let's move on.
Whew. Dance, magic dance.
Let's talk about
Dance,
more
magic
overthinking with this
dance.
movie. Actually, this isn't overthinking. I wanted to mention I'm a big fan of. I named it myself. Hold on. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Okay. It's not a good name, but this is what I named it. The Everything is Fine fantasy. I'm a big fan of that.
I do like that. I like the name. I
You know
mean,
exactly what I'm talking about, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah. When she walks into her bedroom,
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay,
I'm
it's
back in my
over.
room.
Yeah.
It was all just a dream.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I did it. We're safe
Lancelot,
again.
I'm back.
Big fan of that. Is like is like another evil thing, where they're
It's
showing you exactly what you want, putting you
it's
at
like
peace.
an ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
Yeah. And then nope. It's not over yet.
That lady breaks in. She's like, "Oh, here are your toys."
Yeah. Which leads to another thing. I'll mention it, but somebody has to. I hate it though. We spoke about it already. Was this whole movie just a dream, Caroline?
I don't think so. I knew you were going to bring this up, and I was actually giving this some serious thought. I don't think it is,
I don't think it is either.
because at the end, it's not. It doesn't end with her just waking up and nothing. Like, it ends with her having a party with all the friends she made along the way.
You could be fantasizing that.
But there's music, and
Are you serious? Yes,
Jareth is
music.
outside her window as an owl, just staring in, like, "Huh, I want to be in the party."
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that theory, and I don't think that's the case at all. It wouldn't make any sense.
Oh, do
But
you
for
think? Oh,
Huh?
you're not a fan of the theory. Okay, I thought you were saying that you're not a fan of what I just said, but go on, go on.
No, just we spoke about it before. Just the whole thing was a dream theory
Mm-hmm.
is outdated and has always been a lame idea. But for the people who do stick by it still, I could see them making a case for this.
Absolutely. I think that's what like this is just probably another one of those things that Henson wanted. Maybe like Nolan in Inception, he just wanted there to be an interpretation for both sides of it. Where it's like, did the top fall or is it still spinning? Huh? And I think that this is one of those cases with Labyrinth where it's like, is it a dream? Is it not? There's enough on both sides to prove.
Maybe if her parents walked in and saw all these
And reacted
goblins,
to the goblins,
yeah,
that
like
solidifies it.
yelled and then fainted, that would have solidified it.
Dance, magic, dance.
I just thought of this. I would love if the owl peeked through the window and then you see her dancing by herself.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be a little scary, actually?
that would be like a horror movie ending. Yeah. Here are these goblins that only she sees.
Oh, man.
Wow. That was like more terrifying than the masquerade ball if that were to happen.
Scarier than the fire gang scene.
Yeah, actually, I think it would be. The fire gang scene is more annoying than it is scary.
Yeah, it's not scary at all.
Yeah. I don't even remember the song. I just know it sounds like Pass the Dutchie on the left hand slide. I'm just Henson. Henson.
Hey, everyone can slip up every once in a while, right?
That's true. That's true. That's true. But
Let's talk about Hoggle.
let's talk about Hoggle. All right, you were cheering him on this movie, right?
I like Hoggle.
Hoggle's pretty cool.
But what's the situation here with
See another Jareth.
Sarah, Hoggle,
Hoggle and the Goblin King.
and are we going like is Hoggle a little kid? Are
I
we
mean,
going with that idea?
he's not a goblin. I think he's a dwarf. So
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
he's not a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's just a friend. And I think he really only sees her as a friend. Jareth is the one getting all like, if she
No,
kisses
I think
you,
Hoggle really did
I'm
like
turning
her a
you
little
into a
more.
prince. A what? You are a prince of the land of stench. Haha.
Oh, Jared.
I love every line delivered by David Bowie is gold to me. I love it so much. He's having fun in this role and it shows.
It's those puppets.
He felt the puppets. He was like, you know what? I like it here. It's fun. But
No, but
Hoggle,
Caroline, you don't think Hoggle actually had a thing for Sarah?
no, I don't. I mean, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as just friends
Really?
because like he liked having like the pretty plastic that's like very bestie material. Um, I don't know. I didn't see it that way.
I don't know. I felt like they had a lot of moments showing
I
that
think it
he
was
liked her.
more besties. I mean, Jareth was the one that was like way over the top with ballroom dancing and
Creating a whole ballroom
fear
fantasy for
me,
her.
love me, I will be your slave. Hoggle was just like, if you need us, call us.
Hmm. I don't know. I think there was more than that.
I do think just as a whole, his character represents like a flawed person because he even like he goes through so many ups and downs. He helps her, he betrays her, he helps her again, things like that. But he overall like at towards the end he overcomes that. He becomes this really true friend and helps her out. And I like his I feel like all the characters kind of have a little arc too. Even like Ludo and Didymus, they're kind of I feel like if earlier Sarah had met them, she would have found them so annoying and moved on without them. But because she's gone through the labyrinth, she's patient. She loves that they're willing to help her. She considers them actual friends. And so that's just, I kind of group Ludo, Didymus, and Hoggle all together as friends, but I didn't really see anything with Hoggle and her being anymore.
Well, to what you were saying, I feel like Sarah flipped the switch as soon as she went to Goblin City. Like she still learned more things, but I think she was immediately more open to the people she was meeting there because
Yeah.
that's her jam. Like fantasy. Yeah, I'm about this.
I love having friends that are mystical creatures instead of real people.
Because she met Hoggle first, and if we're
Yeah,
assuming this is bratty Sarah, she was getting along with him just fine.
that's true. That's very true. I didn't consider that.
And then, like you said, by the time she got to Ludo and Didymus, she's already been on a journey up to that point. But yeah, I think she's in her, like, this is her environment here. This is where she thrives.
This is a complete side note, but I have a confession,
Uh
and that's that every time I hear Ludo's name, I keep wanting to pronounce it Luda, like
oh.
Ludacris.
Luda.
Ludacris coming in on the verse, got it. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
I forgot who I was thinking about when I heard Ludo.
I kept thinking of Luda.
It's too close.
It's too close. So every time she would call him Ludo, I would hear the Lu and think she was going to say
You
Luda.
heard the beat drop in your head.
I did. I did.
All right, now back to Hoggle being like this secret admirer of Sarah. I'm surprised you didn't see it because I feel like there's a lot of moments where he cares for her more than a friend would.
I
You
feel
know,
like there's a lot more that happens out of their interactions that points to that than them actually interacting. You get what I mean? Like his conversation with Jareth definitely points to him liking her. But whenever he's with her, I don't see it like at least maybe it's definitely a one-sided thing. It's not her being like, "Hoggle." Like kind of he's
I saw
definitely
it
the one
before
that
the
likes her.
conversation with Jareth, and when he brought it
Oh.
up, I'm like, there you go. So it
He
is that
sees what I
obvious.
see.
Yeah, I'm like, is that obvious? Yeah, he's making it obvious.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't be the only one. If anyone else out
I
there,
mean, Jareth saw it, so you're not the only one.
well, I mean, it was written for him to see it. So I'm trying to remember the moments, but it's just like he he liked her a little more than a friend would than just friends.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the way he spoke to her, the way he spoke about her. Yeah.
If you had to pick between Hoggle and the Goblin King, who would you pick?
It's a ship.
Yeah.
Oh, they're both overage.
That's true. That's true. That's the
Uh,
only correct answer.
we can't find someone Sarah's age.
I mean, we weren't introduced to anybody Sarah's age.
No. This is what her stepmom was telling her.
She's like, I wish you met boys your age.
I wish my daughter would get a date.
I wish my daughter would get a date with a boy her age.
I'm sorry,
My
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 stepdaughter.
my husband's daughter would get a date. I think her stepmom was very nice.
I think so
I think she
too.
was very reasonable.
I think it is just her kind of projecting, Sarah just projecting onto her stepmom as like, oh, she's mean to me. She just wants to control me when there's no evidence of that. Her mom
Yeah.
even says that they rarely go out. They rarely have Sarah babysit. Like she
But
wants
Sarah
her to
said
go out.
every weekend to go out
Yeah.
every week.
I don't believe Sarah when she says that. I think she's just exaggerating.
But even if it is every weekend, her
Once a weekend
stepmom did
is
say, she said, we try to do it around your schedule. Make sure you're not doing anything.
yeah. It's not Sarah's fault that she's just LARPing and not actually going out with
It was an hour
people.
late. She was LARPing for hours.
Hours by
She ran
herself.
late. Yeah, in a park by herself. She
I
dressed up.
Sarah is definitely the kind of people to like go to a bookstore and wait around for people to go to like to her favorite book section so she could talk to them about it. Like,
Are you trying to call me out a little bit, or is that?
you know, I didn't even remember that until right now.
That a little jab at my lifestyle, or what?
No, I don't want to say more. I don't want to insult you. The more I'm remembering, the more
Go
I'll
ahead.
keep
Go
you
ahead.
silent about.
You're not that far off.
I'm just saying Sarah seems like the kind of person who wants to have friends that like the same things she likes. And she's just probably because she has no friends in real life. So she's probably just the kind of person that's used to staying in her own imagination bubble. And I just picture her being the kind of girl that's like, I'm just going to go buy this book. And anybody who's buying the same book as me, I'll strike up a conversation with them.
Relatable.
But her mom is like, I want you to get out there and actually meet people. I want you to go on dates.
Yeah, you got to get your nose out of that book.
Jareth as the owl. I got my eyes on you.
I got my
Everything
eyes on
I
Hoot.
see.
Yeah, yeah, everything you see.
It just slowly starts becoming hoot hoot hoot.
Hooty, hooty, hoo, hoo. Hoo, hooty. Then imagine his head bobbing left or right on the bridge.
Hoot
Hooty,
hoot
hooty,
hoot
hooty,
hoot.
hoo, hoo. While she's dancing by herself,
Hoot
nobody's
hoot
next
hoot.
to her.
Hoot 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 hoot. It's definitely too late to be recording. All right, let's talk about Didymus, Ludo, and Ambrosius. What you think about those three?
Let's talk about that owl still.
Every hoot you take, I'll be hooting you. Dun 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 dun.
All right. Didymus, does he stink or not?
He most definitely stinks.
All right.
I thought for sure I was gonna ask you what your favorite scene is, and before you actually tell me it, my assumption before this was it was gonna be the bog of eternal stench when Ambrosius is walking on the stones, and you're just hearing.
It's not my favorite, but I love this so much.
I knew that was one of my driving. Like at first, I had forgotten about this scene, and I even told you this. I think a couple of days before we saw the movie, I was like, I'm nervous because I don't want to show you a movie you're not gonna like again.
Oh, you get so
And
nervous about these things. What's that
I
about?
I do. One of us has to be nervous about things.
What's
And
that supposed to mean? Are we
I
going
mean,
back
I'm
to?
just saying that you're not.
Huh?
Anyway, I remembered after that. I remembered the bog of eternal stench, and I was like, "Oh no, he's gonna enjoy it. It has so many farts. He'll love it."
And this scene it goes toot tooty tooty toot. It's like poetry. We're coming back to this.
It toots. Toot tooty toot tooty
Toot
toot
toot.
toot.
Tooty
Toot
tooty
toot
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 toot.
tooty toot tooty tooty.
Tooty toot. Are we gonna get copyright on this pod?
Nah, we didn't sing it good enough.
That's true. We didn't get copyrighted. By the way, for our highlights for the past like 5 weeks, we've had copyright claims
Oh,
because
really?
I used the music. The only one that didn't claim us was Never Ending Story. So thank you, Never Ending Story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Never Ending Story.
Yes.
But I was thinking about that. Like we straight up sang the song at the beginning. In
I
this
think you could.
in the podcast and in the highlight, we didn't get claimed. So I was like, woo!
Yeah, I think you could. Especially if it sounds nothing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. With our toots and our hoots.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the hootinest, tootinest Goblin King in the Labyrinth.
The Goblin City. So yeah, what's there to say about Sir Didymus, Ludo?
Out of the gang, out of Hoggle, Ludo, Didymus, who's your favorite?
I really like Toggle a lot. I like that you start off seeing him killing fairies. It was very
And
funny.
peeing in a pool.
Yeah. He just looks funny. He's a funny character.
He's got a lot of mechanics behind him because it is a little person in that suit, but the head, she doesn't, it was a girl, she doesn't control it. It's remotely controlled by people watching off screen that are controlling his expressions, his mouth, and everything. So it was like a 5-man team just to operate Hoggle. And they did phenomenal. Can you imagine 5 people in all the scenes that he's in? It's 5 people syncing up.
He's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
It does seem like yeah, a technological marvel. Like how you just explained it, but I had no idea like how they got his face to move the way it does. How
It's
they,
so expressive.
yeah, it was great. I love seeing him walking around, what he will say. I thought he was funny.
I love his interactions with Jareth, where he's like, "You seem to have misplaced your magic jewels." Oh yes, my jewels.
Oh, before I forget too, I know this movie took inspiration from Wizard of Oz. I know that's why the book was
Yes.
there too.
And one other, if you want to try to guess.
Uh,
Think about. I'll give you a hint. It's got a maze in it.
um, Maze Runner.
No.
Uh,
It's another classic kind of tale. Disney has made an adaptation of it.
okay, live action adaptation.
No, cartoon.
Uh,
Old cartoon.
and it's got a maze.
Yes.
I got nothing.
It's got a bunny rabbit in it, a
Alice
clock.
in Wonderland.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, all right. I
So
see
they
that.
they took elements from Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz and then combined some Henson and fantasy. And that's where they got kind of the theme for this movie.
The only on the nose comparisons I saw to Wizard of Oz
Hmm.
was a crystal ball and seeing, like, keeping an eye on the person through a crystal ball. Like, Jareth was able to see what Sarah was up to the whole time.
Hmm.
Same with the Wicked Witch. And what was the other thing? Oh, and Hoggle building his courage. Like, he said he was a coward, right? And then he had to do something courageous, just like the lion in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, mine's was just kind of. I like that comparison. I'm glad that you picked up on that too, because mine was just how she picks up these three guys based on like it's the same way Dorothy picks up her three boys.
Yeah,
Especially like Ludo was tied to a tree, the scarecrow was tied up. Uh was it Hoggle is like the cowardly lion because he does eventually he's a coward, but then he comes in and saves her from that giant robot.
yeah.
And then Didymus is like the Tin Man, where he's like fearless, but then like Ambrosius will pull him back, and it's like, no, where are you going?
I like that. Yeah, assembling their crew
Yeah,
before the adventure or along the adventure.
yeah. The journey is not the end, but the friends she made along the way.
And what about the Alice stuff? Is it just a fantasy aspect or just
Well, there is
wacky
a
things?
worm. There is a worm in Alice that
Okay.
gives her advice on how to get through the Wonderland. And the whole point of both of these stories, by the way, for Dorothy, it's more of a straight journey, sort of, because it's like follow the Yellow Brick Road and you'll find the wizard. But with Alice, she's trying to get out of Wonderland, and Wonderland is a huge maze. So that's the whole thing is to get home, she has to get out of Wonderland.
Yeah, Dorothy had it pretty easy, huh?
Dorothy had it easy. It was just, the witch was involved and things like that. Kept throwing her off
Easy. Drop a
course.
house on her, no big deal. Keep it moving.
How did the Wicked Witch die? Oh, she put water on her. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
he splashed water on her.
I was trying to remember that. Like, how did they get her? It's water.
Water's
Fun
a
fact:
classic weakness
th-
for a lot of things.
those flying monkeys gave me nightmares for days after I saw that movie.
They're pretty scary.
They're terrifying to me.
Yeah.
That might be like a deep root cause for why I don't like monkeys today. Hmm.
Really? You got a thing for lovable animals like frogs, monkeys.
Don't phrase it like I like them. When he says I got a thing, it means I grotesquely despise them. I'm just
I
no.
think they understood with the context. You just said you don't like monkeys and said you got a thing for
The way
those
you said it was like you have a thing for lovable animals. It's like, oh yeah, she likes those.
traditionally lovable animals.
And I feel like when you say that, it makes it sound like I like them, but I don't. I despise them with a hatred,
Right.
a
All
smoldering,
right, so we'll let that be clear
blazing
then.
hatred that I hate frogs and monkeys.
With
Yes,
all your hate.
with all my heart, hate hoot.
Okay. All right. The record is set straight.
Thank you. Yes,
I love all of the animal kingdom.
that's why you're here. That's why 50% of Elbow Nudge loves all animals.
All right.
The other 50% just love some. Like alligators. Why do we have alligators? You know? Why do we have mosquitoes?
I'm in Florida. I asked the same questions, but I learned to live amongst them.
That's just your natural habitat now.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mm-mm-mm.
There's a golf course here where just alligators hanging out. You can feed them.
It's not a golf course, it's just a gator course.
Yeah, the real attraction is the gators, and then you could golf if you want on the side.
This is a side note, but are there fences in that golf course to keep the gators at least somewhat contained or nah? You better get ready on that gas pedal with that golf cart.
It has an elevation for gators to stay away. But did you see that? This is years ago now, but there was a humongous gator on a golf course here. I'm not familiar with golf, so I don't know what golf course it was, but it was a huge gator, ginormous, just like stalking the course.
Wow.
You've never seen it? It made in the news,
No. I mean, like, it made, like, all the news, not just local?
national news.
Let me see. Giant gator,
We need to know this right now.
Florida golf. Wow, it autofilled. Florida golf course. What is this dinosaur?
You see it?
Hang on, I'm sending you images.
Yeah,
Everybody,
it's real.
we do like this movie, don't get us wrong, but gators just sidetracked us a little bit.
It's
Oh
real.
my god, what n
I thought it was Photoshop, but there's video.
whoa.
There's video of that too.
Oh my god, I got chills of fear going up my spine.
Add that to the list. Monkeys, frogs,
Monkeys,
and
frogs,
gators.
and gators.
Aren't you coming on vacation sometime soon to
I
Florida?
am, yeah, maybe I should go the other way.
Uh-huh.
I'll go to California instead.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Did they kill it or not? They just let it
I
be?
have no idea. It's probably still out there.
Huh? The headline is like dinosaur-like alligator shows up. Ugh.
Yeah. So cool.
Wow. I hope I never see that.
All right, let's talk about Labyrinth.
Let's talk about Labyrinth. No more. I'm gonna get too scared of that giant gator. Wow. What do you think of the music? David Bowie wrote this, so you know. What do you think?
Oh, like I was saying before, I think all of the music I could definitely say it was good. But it's for me it is kind of strange, and I guess that's fitting for the movie, but I think it's just I didn't understand all the lyrics.
It didn't help that there were no subtitles too while he was singing.
Yeah. So I guess even the closed captioning guy didn't get it either.
He could have just looked it up on Spotify. Spotify has all the lyrics.
I felt like it was all very strange, but it worked for the movie and it's cool. But I wouldn't just add it to my playlist, you know. Of all the movies that we do, I start adding all these soundtracks in my playlist.
The songs that like stick with you.
Well, I would have the whole album, like from the very beginning,
Oh,
Encanto, High School
okay.
Musical, Interstellar,
Wow.
Neverending Story, all of that. I just added on. I'm like, oh yeah, these are great. This one, I don't think I'll add it on, but not because it's not good. It's because I think it's just a different mood for me.
Yeah,
Very
it's
interesting, but
not your style, but that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
mean it's bad.
exactly.
I did add 2 songs, 3 to my playlist.
Pass the Dutchie on the left hand side.
No.
No,
I added the Masquerade Ball song. I added the song where he's, walking up and down the stairs and does those cool moves where he like goes from I don't know, upside down to
yeah.
right side up.
You know what? I'm gonna try that one again. I think I could re-listen to that one.
That one I think is a really good song. And
Yeah,
the last one was the end credits song where it's like, "Daddy, daddy, get me out of here." I like that song a lot. And
I forgot about that one.
a little fun fact for Dance Magic Dance, the soundtrack at least, and in the movie, the audio is mixed a little bit different in the movie, but the baby sounds for both of them, for the movie and the soundtrack version, David Bowie, one of his background singers, had a baby, and he wanted to use that baby's like gurgles and cries in the song Dance Magic Dance. But while recording, that baby just would not make a sound. He said he even tried to like pinch the baby, and the
Oh,
baby didn't cry. And he was like, "What? Why is this baby so quiet?" So he ended up going into the recording booth and making those baby sounds himself. So all the baby sounds you hear during Dance Magic Dance are David Bowie mimicking a baby.
no. Wait. In the movie or
Yes, in
no?
the movie and in recording, just for the song. Like, obviously, other than that, it's the baby, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
for the song itself, the baby sounds are him.
So they had audio recording of a baby crying, cooing, laughing, and they didn't use any of those that they had already.
For
David
the
Bowie
song.
wanted to pinch him again and make him
Dave, well,
cry
no,
on the
because
spot.
they finished the music prior to filming. The music was finished
Oh,
first.
okay, all right.
That if I think that they should have waited and done it, but then how do you set up the scene for it?
Well, still, you could sing the whole song and then overlay baby sounds on the song, right?
He wanted it done.
He wanted it authentic.
Bowie, it makes me so happy. I think anytime a celebrity that's brought into a kids film or things like that, they really give their all into it. I like seeing people just in any kind of industry really get invested in the work that they're doing. And this is just kind of an observation I've had over the years where people don't take kids media as seriously. There is like a clip I saw of, I don't know, Boss Baby and Jeff Goldblum's in it. And it's a voice acting role, and he's clearly like just phoning it in. He's supposed to be yelling, and he's going,
Who was
ah.
it? Goldblum?
Yeah, Goldblum.
That's how he yells.
You can yell. He could yell better. He's been in Jurassic World. Anyway, uh, I just feel like
Sounds
that.
just like that in Jurassic World.
I just feel like it's another thing when you see everybody invested, and that could also attribute to like the power of Henson, because Henson put 110% of himself into every work that he did, and when you have that just kind of fire and passion for the work, I'm so glad that David Bowie brought it. If you look into a lot of the lyrics of the songs, David Bowie just really ran off with his character. I think he fell in love with the way his character looked and acted and things like that. So a lot of the hidden background stories of the Goblin King are in the lyrics of each song because the songs are supposed to be sang from his perspective. So I wish that we got like some subtitles to those songs within the movie because I feel like I could have been impacted more seeing that play out, but it is kind of a treat to go back and hear the music with the lyrics and be like, okay, all
What I'm getting
right.
from this is that he is the Johnny Depp to Captain Jack Sparrow,
As in, he loves the role a
as in
lot.
how fit for the role he is and how committed to the role he is, and
Yeah,
how he adds
yeah.
more to it.
I can't imagine if they got anybody else to play the Goblin King
At this time,
at this
mm,
time.
yeah, during the '80s. I'm trying to think.
Let's play a fun little guessing game. If this movie was made now, who do you think they would have gotten to play the Goblin King?
Oh,
And they were specifically going for a singer, so it's not like an actor or anything. It's a singer.
wait, but who was the first person?
Sting.
Oh,
The options before Bowie were Sting and Michael Jackson.
wow, Michael Jackson would have been good.
I feel like Michael Jackson would have been okay, but I don't think he could have embodied. I feel like it would have been too weird, especially when you think about it
Too
now.
weird,
Think about it now with what we know about MJ
right?
and a 14-year-old girl. I don't know.
Life imitates art.
I don't know, but David Bowie was a better. Plus, David Bowie, I feel like with his face shape and everything, he's an unconventional handsome. You know what I mean?
I have no idea what you mean.
He's a he's a ladies, am I right? He's an
Ladies, you don't
unconventional
have to.
he's an unconventional handsome.
I think, it's easy to say, like, the person we got is the best option. It's easy to
That's
say that. But I
true.
just mean Michael Jackson would have been an interesting choice as well. I think the movie would have been
I would have liked to
different,
hear the
obviously, but
music that came out from
oh, it would have
that
been so
if
good.
MJ did the music.
It would have been so good. There would have
Yeah,
been a lot of hits in
the
that.
music would have been pretty good. I can't lie because MJ is a pretty good music writer.
But definitely would have changed the theme of the whole movie because
And I think even the way the Goblin King was portrayed, I feel like it would have been. Did you ever see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
no.
Okay, there's like a child snatcher, the child catcher. In Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that's an old what's the word? Old musical with like Dick Van Dyke. And there's this character called the child catcher. And it's basically like the dog catcher, but because like there's no children allowed in this city. And so there's this guy called the child catcher, and anytime a child is spot, he's kind of called in. And I just feel like that's the energy MJ as Jareth would have radiated. Look at this dude.
No.
I feel like he would have radiated an energy like that.
Here's what I think. I don't think it would have been weird enough.
Okay.
I think
Interesting.
Michael Jackson would have blown the roof off with like awesome iconic pop music in this song. But I think David Bowie did a better fitting role with his music. I think the music fits better. I think Michael Jackson would have been, that's the king of pop right there.
It would have been a little too mainstream.
Yeah, mainstream, good, like just
He would have been good. He
it
would
would
have
have been
been
like good
it would have
music
been
that people want to sing,
it would have been a hit.
Yeah, the goblins would have been happy. They would have never wanted to go back.
People would have gone to see this movie more because he's a more beloved
Exactly.
icon.
Exactly right. Now you understand what I'm coming from with this. No, but that's what I'd be like. What kind of music do you think David Bowie does? Like, what's his genre?
It is kind of like a pop rock,
Okay.
like a rock.
Yeah,
He
I
he
felt the rock in this too.
he collaborated a lot with like Queen and things like that. Like that's just kind of that 80s rock, pop rock was his field. He's got some good tunes, by the way. You should just check out some of his music whenever you get the chance.
All right, I'll give it a shot. But let's go back to today. You have somebody in mind, don't you?
No, I don't. I was thinking about it right now while we were talking about MJ.
So it has to be a good singer.
I feel like if it was in the wrong hands, and this is not a good guess nor my guess, but if it
If it
was
was
in
in
the
the wrong hit.
if it
If
was
Ryan Johnson
wrong,
directed
if
Labyrinth
it
reboot,
was like David Ayer, you
what?
know, like Suicide Squad style. If this was, I feel like it would be Machine Gun Kelly. As the wrong
Yes. Oh,
choice.
that's perfect.
I feel like the wrong choice is Machine Gun Kelly.
You just thought of the best choice.
No, no, no,
I
no,
can't
not
believe
at
you
all.
thought of that.
I feel like the wrong choice is Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, that's an awesome idea.
No. I'm not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly. I don't like Machine Gun Kelly. I just feel like if this movie was made today and they knew we have to get this kind of like weird
He has
rock
really good music.
guy, it would be I've only heard Emo Girl by him.
There's a lot good emo songs he has.
I feel like it would be Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh man, that's a good choice.
Other than him, I feel like Panic at the Disco would be a good choice.
Huh. So
Um
you're thinking like so far you're thinking like punk rock or emo rock or
I'm
something?
trying to go like yeah, because I feel like they would fit this kind of fantasy a little bit better. But I am trying to find like pop rock. But I feel like Jonas Brothers probably wouldn't work. They're too pretty.
Not an unconventional.
They're
Or,
too conventional handsome. We need unconventional handsome.
and we need some edge. Those guys are
Yeah,
sorry,
these
Jonas,
are
but
Disney pop. I'm sorry, Joe Bros, but yeah. Turn on
they're
the
squares.
radio
I'll say
as loud as it can
it.
go. Toot
Gonna
toot
dance
toot
until my
toot
feet
toot.
can't feel the ground. All right, let's put them in. Let's put them in. We'll reboot it with the. But which one? Which is Joe Bro though? The bonus Jonas
It would be
or
Joe. He'd have to redeem himself from Camp Rock.
Joe could do it.
Joe.
But if Joe is gonna be in the lead, then you know for sure
His
Nick
brothers are
and
gonna be
Kevin are gonna want to
goblins.
join in.
They're
Yeah.
gonna be goblins. Toot 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 toot. There's no tootin'.
Man, I wish we could think of some more. I'm just so stumped right now, but I
Let
like the ideas you had.
I'm gonna do pop rock star artists. Yeah, here we go. Artists. Who do we got? Oh, no, I need popular
Oh, I
today.
thought of an idea before even
Okay,
looking it up,
go, go, go.
and it's so relevant to how we reboot movies now.
Okay.
It's gotta be Lady Gaga.
It's
It's
'cause
gotta be Lady
it's gonna be a
Gaga.
woman.
Yes, yes. Come on. Come on.
But I feel like if this was Lady Gaga couple of years ago, like during her paparazzi phase, yes. But I feel like now she's taken
Couple
pretty
of years ago is even
seriously.
longer than that.
Yeah, I'm just generalizing. I don't remember how much exactly, but like I feel like that if this was back in her era of um oh, I just saw one name, but yeah, I feel like this is back in her paparazzi era. Yes, because she had that kind of weird
I
imagery
know what you mean. You want her to
associated with
be
her
at
brand.
peak weirdness,
Yeah, they
but I
gotta
think
be at peak
she's an
weird.
even better actress now, and she's still got the pipes, you know?
That's
She can still
true, but I feel like now she's taken seriously, and this isn't a
what?
serious role.
No, she'll kill it.
Can I present my option?
Alright,
Harry Styles.
pass.
Okay, I'm gonna keep looking.
We just talked about the Joe Bros being too square.
But Harry Styles embodies that kind of like he wears dresses at his concerts and things like that. I just feel
What?
like he in, envisions it. He has the look.
Uh, but does he have
I feel like
everything else, though?
he could rock like that eye makeup that Bowie did, and he wouldn't mind like wearing those outfits like a fairy. I feel like he'd like it.
Uh, but can he sing in a strange, weird, interesting kind of way?
He's also British like Bowie. I don't know if he can sing like it. That would have to be up to him, but
But can he do crystal ball hand, sleight of
Bowie
hand?
didn't even do that. He had a guy crouching down.
Lady Gaga could do it.
You're just advocating for Lady Gaga to be the Goblin Queen.
Yeah.
I think your Lady Gaga bias is starting to show a little bit.
And we'll get Finn Wolfhard to be
Oh my
Sarah.
god. You know what? You know what? I'm actually not against this gender bend labyrinth. Finn Wolfhard is a pretty good choice.
or we'll get Tom Holland. He still looks 14.
um, Mr. Goblin King? I mean, Miss Ma'am?
Goblin Queen? I don't
Goblin
feel so
Queen?
good. Or no, Hoggle? I don't feel so
Hoggle?
good. The forbidden fruit.
Ludo? Instead of Sarah, it's Sam. Sam.
Oh man. I think we got it. Let's post this somewhere.
There has been an attempt to make reboots, remakes, and sequels to this movie, but nobody's ever come close to doing it. Lisa Henson, which is Jim Henson's daughter, signed on to be a producer to a Labyrinth sequel, and a Labyrinth sequel was announced in 2016. And they got a director. They had Lisa Henson as producer. The script was confirmed to be complete. However, in 2020, the director stepped down, and what was it? Oh, okay. I'm reading here. Scott Derrickson, who directed Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
has joined
Black
on
phone.
as a director. They did say that it was on hold because the sad part is that when they announced this sequel, they announced it like the day after David Bowie passed away. So,
What?
yeah, a lot of people thought that that was kind of like a cash grab or a like now that he's gone, you're all probably missing him, right? We're gonna make a sequel.
It was a day after. They couldn't
They
wait.
couldn't wait. No, they couldn't.
That's just terrible timing.
Although in February 2020, Jennifer Connelly, in an interview, confirmed that she had conversations about being involved with the Labyrinth sequel, and she's open to it.
Huh.
So I don't know what this sequel would hold, but there is an attempt being made. But prior to that attempt, a lot of times they wanted to remake it. There was even like a stage adaptation being planned, but nobody has really fulfilled it.
I'm usually against these.
I am too. I don't want them to touch this movie.
You shouldn't. There's no reason to. If you think about the story, it's so dead simple, and that's what makes it work.
Hmm. It's also nice that it doesn't have a sequel. Sometimes movies can just be one offs.
Yes. But you know, when you said Scott Derrickson, I'm like, ooh, a horror labyrinth? Oh.
Now you're interested.
It
What if
sounds
he
pretty
got
good.
Lady Gaga?
I'll take like a
Rah, 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 rah.
nah, just leave
La
Labyrinth
la la la
untouched.
la, labyrinth, haha.
Keep going.
No.
You know what? Leave Labyrinth untouched. But take that Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz concept that Labyrinth used and make it horror. That's what I want.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But this could kind of lead into a larger discussion, but I really do miss the 80s fantasy. I feel like we don't have that today. Today it's very, we discussed it at the beginning, but very CG heavy. And I feel like today the big thing is superheroes. And there's nothing inherently wrong with superhero films. But I feel like because those movies do incredibly well, we've lost the creativity to explore other genres of film. And the 80s, whether it was a success or not, there was a ton of 80s fantasy movies. Labyrinth, Neverending Story, there was Willow, there was Excalibur, there's so much more that I could name, but I'm just naming the ones off the top of my head. And that's what I think also attributes to this movie being so good and why it shouldn't be remade, is because this was a moment in film where these fantasy movies were allowed to be weird and ugly and explore these themes about people, about somebody growing up and having these open interpretations. I feel like now if this movie was to come out, Jim Henson would sit down with like Vanity Fair and explain all these themes that he intended for the movie, instead of you know the way he did it back then, was like, I want y'all to talk about it, have different interpretations. Like, we don't really have a lot of that in our movies today.
Yeah, that is a whole much bigger conversation, but I agree. Did you see that Hot Ones interview clip with Matt Damon that's been making the rounds again?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Where him talking about the DVD sales and
Exactly, how that attributed a lot into how movies made money. So like now movies are more profit oriented than they were story oriented, because now with streaming and everything they have to make a lot of money at the box office.
yeah. So they're more risk adverse. You know, you got to have a
Yeah.
guaranteed hit if your movie is going to theaters. It has to have some sort of draw. So it's harder to get these movies that are just romantic comedies or just comedies. Or I think he used Goodwill Hunting as an example. And he says, yeah, you can make however much you can in the theaters, and then when the DVD comes out is like another re-release of the movie, pretty much.
It's another payout. It's another wave of
Yeah,
revenue coming in.
but now all those movies just get dropped onto Netflix or HBO. Like, what are you seeing now? Superheroes, of course, big IPs, Star Wars, and then just movies that have either a big actor or big director, or they just need like a big sci-fi concept or something like that. But
Mhm.
nothing small scale, nothing like you said. Like I don't know how Labyrinth will do now. It is. I mean, fantasy is interesting. It really is. Is like is more than just a regular reality of day to day life, which is interesting. But I don't know how it would do now.
And it's so amazing that you brought up the Matt Damon thing, because when you look at Labyrinth, what saved this movie were the DVD sales and like the
Oh,
VHS sales that eventually came later on. Because this movie, I don't know if it was made in 86, and I know that that was during the VHS era, but the home release of this film saved it from being a total failure. In fact, Jim Henson, shortly before he passed away, said that he's glad that the movie did well at home release, because when the movie came out, he felt like a failure because it didn't make a lot of money on its theatrical run. It actually only made $12 million in the US, 34 million worldwide. But when it started hitting home release, a lot of people bought it to where before he died, it was becoming a cult following. And he acknowledged it, saying he was happy that it was developing a cult following. And he attributed home release to that. And even now, it has a huge cult following with people who attribute it as one of their favorite 80s movies and things like that. And it's all because of home release.
See, that's kind of sad, but also inspiring in a way because it's not a success. It's not a big, high grossing film, but it's something very creative. And then what's your pursuit? To make a lot of money or to make something you're proud of? The
Exactly.
two could cross over, of course, but I don't know. It's just something to think about, right? Like he put his all into it, and sometimes what you make is not for everyone, but the fact that you made it, and for the people that it is for, they're going to connect even more to that. Like finally something
Exactly.
for me, something I really like, not just superhero stuff. Like this is something different. This is unique. It's interesting where we are now. Like how often are we going to get a movie like this? That's going to step outside what's just popular.
Right? A movie that's and when you look at whenever you get the chance, I really recommend that like Inside the Labyrinth documentary because it really I saw how much fun everybody had while making it. Not just the actors, but Henson, all the crew behind the camera. They would crack up whenever they saw the puppets do something funny because the puppeteers were able to just, go off and do their own thing. They were just told act like goblins. So they were able to just be crazy and have a lot of fun with their roles. And Henson was not the kind of director to be like, "Hey, don't mess around." Like he would joke with them. He would enable them to have a good time on set. And so you're really seeing everybody have this really fun, lighthearted time making this movie that they were all excited to see. And even though it didn't make a lot of money at the box office, it was enough to make all of them proud. To where even Jennifer Connelly said in a recent interview that to this day, she still gets people coming up and telling her, "Oh, I love you in Labyrinth. My favorite movie of yours is Labyrinth." And that makes her so happy.
I would think that's the biggest role, right?
I feel like it's Top Gun now.
Oh yeah.
She's had other roles. Let's see, biggest. Jennifer Connelly's best movies.
Well, I mean,
Number one is Top Gun.
well, this is the one that I haven't seen all her movies, but she's the lead role here. I know she was in Spider-Man Homecoming and, Top Gun and things like that, but I mean like, this is the one she's
She's in A Beautiful Mind. That was a big one.
oh yeah.
She
This
in
is
the
just
Rock.
good to have on their resume, This is a really cool movie to be in.
Yeah,
And Top
yeah.
Gun Maverick.
She's in The Rocketeer. That's a pretty good, but that was
Oh,
another like
I
sleeper
have yet to
hit.
see that.
That's a good movie. But yeah, Tony, I'm glad you liked this movie. I'm glad we had a lot of conversations around this film. It was
Yeah,
more than I could have asked for. Really happy about this.
good. Me too.
Is there any closing thoughts you want to add to Labyrinth?
Um,
Oh, you know what? I just want to. Who's your favorite character?
Hoggle.
Yeah, I should have known.
He's the coolest looking one.
I think that's Bowie.
I said coolest, not like dreamy.
He's cool. Look at those
Coolest
eye.
looking what?
Look at those eyebrows.
Caroline.
Look at that eye makeup.
Caroline.
Look at that. Did you see his final
Focus.
form?
Focus. Focus.
I
I
saw.
saw his final form.
I
Yes.
saw his final form.
Yes, I saw his final form.
His outfit changes in the film. Amazing. He changed. He was like the Katy Perry song. Change your mind, like Jareth changes clothes.
So, Jareth is your favorite character?
It's a tie between him and Sarah. I do love Sarah.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love her growth. She starts off really. She reminds me a lot of Chihiro, and I know like Spirit Away came out a lot later, but there's a lot of parallels here between Chihiro and Sarah.
You don't think
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki
Did you
was
watch
taking
Labyrinth?
notes?
Miyazaki? Because he has Haku in there, and Haku is not Jareth.
Hmm.
Haku is like Haku is like a handsome, helpful hoggle. Hmm.
I think we're trying to make connections where there are none.
You're probably right. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If it's your first time listening and you're hearing us on your favorite podcasting platform, give us a follow. You hit that bell icon if you're like on Spotify. If you're a returning listener and you haven't already, give us a honest review. If you're hearing us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.
I wish the goblins would come and take us away right now.